Hello friends, welcome to the KM Bangar Summary MCQ series. This is the first video for chapter 1, that is introduction, and here we will see questions from the topics solar system, age of earth and radioactivity. So let's begin. But you can also join our Telegram channel that is Geologica 2020 to get PDF of this video. Here all of the videos PPT will be shared in this channel, and you can also contact me through the Instagram ggupta_99. So let's begin with our first question, that is, which branch includes the study of mineral composition, structure, appearance, stability, occurrence and the association. Now you may think why I have put this question. This is very easy questions and related to the branches of geology. So I have put this to clarify you the difference between the mineralogy, mining geology, engineering geology and economic geology, because these three things can be confusing by their definition. So although the correct answer here is option number 1, but let's see about the economic geology. Now here we are talking about the mineral composition, structure and appearance. But in the economic geology we also discuss the same thing about the composition, structure, appearance of minerals, but not all the minerals. In the economic geology, mostly the minerals which are of economic importance, like we have micas, like we have the gem minerals, only those will be discussed. But in mineralogy, everything will become, whether it is olivine or any other mineral which is not that much useful. Okay, so that is the difference between mineralogy and economic geology. When we come talk about the mining geology deals with the mining activities. Okay, whether it is the identification of ore reserve, how much ore we have, how much mineral we have, how much metals can be extract from that reserve, and what should be the procedure, whether it should be the open cast mining or it will be the underground mining. All of these things will come in the mining geology. But engineering geology, this is another term, this is another branch which is used in the development of infrastructure, like for the development of dam, for the development of bridges, railways, tunnels. So these things will come in the engineering geology. For an example, if we do not focus that much part on these infrastructure, we will have many disastrous incidents. Like you have an example of Koyna Dam. Koyna Dam got failed because of not a proper engineering geology or the geological consideration. Okay, you can check it then. Then next question we have, which of the following combination is correct for outer planets? So here we have a lot of combinations like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. This is the combination for inner planets. Then there are 3 other combinations, but if you will see the fourth one, here it is a Pluto. Pluto is no more a planet. It was planet till around 2009, but after that it is considered as a dwarf planet. Okay, then the correct option for the outer planets is option number 3rd, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. Now let us see what are the planets. We have the planets from increasing distance from the sun. First we have the Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. So the first 4 planets which you are seeing here, they are known as inner planets, and the other 4, they are known as your outer planets or the giant planets. So the inner planets, they have own characteristics, like they have high density, they are consist of mainly rocky material, they have atmosphere or they may have a small atmosphere. But the outer planets, they are mostly consist of gaseous material, they are very large in size. Okay, as well as all of these have lesser density. Okay, so these are some differences between the inner and outer planets. Then next question is, which planet is also known as the sister of Earth? So this question I have put to give you an idea about some specific features of each and every planets. So there are the features: Mercury, which is the nearest planet to the sun. Okay, then you have Venus, which is known as sister of Earth. Okay, then it is also the warmest planet, and it has the anti-clockwise rotation. Now mostly planets revolves around the clockwise direction, but Venus and Neptune, these two planets rotates anti-clockwise, means in this direction. Okay, then what about Earth? Earth is a blue planet because of presence of a lot of water. It appears like blue color. Mars is red planet because of the presence of iron oxides. A lot of iron oxides are there. Then you have Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in our solar system. Then you have Saturn. Saturn is very lighter, even though its density is lighter than your water. So if you will try to put Saturn into water, it will float. Okay. Then you have Uranus. Uranus, the axis of rotation is nearly horizontal. Now, what we know about Earth? Earth's axis of rotation is 23.5 degree. It is something like this. So Earth rotates in this way. But when we talk about the Uranus, its axis of rotation lies horizontally. So this rotates like this. Okay. So Uranus has the 90-degree rotation or the horizontal rotational. And hence, according to our question, third option is our right answer. So these are the characteristics. You can note it down. Okay, here you can see a lot of things are given. The axis of rotation, here Mercury has exactly vertical rotation. Then you have Venus 177.3, Earth 23.5. Okay, so all of these are given. Here is the Uranus. You have the 97 degree, just perpendicular, just horizontal. Okay. So another question is, what term will be used for the vast cloud of hot gas? So vast cloud of hot gas is known as your nebula. Now if you have read the origin of Earth hypothesis, these terms is used like the nebula, planetesimals, tidal force and Big Bang. So nebula is the vast cloud of hot gas. If we talk about the planetesimals, planetesimal is when hot gas got separated into the small pieces, and these pieces got cooled and becomes the solid part. So these solid part, after cooling, they are known as planetesimals. Then you have the tidal force, or we can say it is an attractive force. Then you have the Big Bang, which has the blasting. Okay, so these are the four things. Here the right option is your second. Now these terms is used in various hypotheses because of its use. Now if we are talking about the nebular hypothesis, we are talking about nebula, the vast cloud of hot gas. If we are talking about the planetesimal hypothesis, we are talking about these solid particles. If we are talking about the tidal hypothesis, we are talking about the tidal force. So it's become easier to understand if you know the terminology. Okay, then our next question is, who proposed the planetesimal hypothesis of origin of Earth? So, and here you have the options: Kant and Laplace, Moulton and Chamberlain, Jeans and Jeffreys, or a group of scientists. So I have arranged these four because I thought these four hypotheses are very important. So Kant and Laplace, they give us the nebular hypothesis. Then Moulton and Chamberlain, they gave us about the planetesimal hypothesis. Then Jeans and Jeffreys, who gave idea of the tidal hypothesis, and a group of scientists gave the idea of Big Bang theory. So these four are, I thought these four are the important one. Another question is, what is the age of solar system? So there may be some confusion about the solar system and the universe. Okay, if we talk about the age of universe, that is 14 billion years. I have arranged the options in a certain manner. So the universe age is 14 billion years. Then the age of solar system is 4.5 billion years. Then when the first life appeared on earth, that is 3.5 billion years, and when the life exploded, that is 451 million years. So you can use this chronology to remember. Okay, any one of them can be asked in your question, whether you are going to appear in IIT JAM, BHU, DU or CUCT, whatever is this. Okay, so here second option is your right answer. Age of solar system is 4.5 billion years. Okay, then another question is, which of the following techniques are used for calculation of age of earth? So age of earth can be calculated through the rate of sedimentation, salinity of seawater, or from the rate of cooling of earth. So here fourth option will be our right answer. But these dating techniques are no more in use because we have the radiometric dating, and radiometric dating gives us the precise time period, more precisely than all of these three. But let us see one by one how this works. From the rate of sediments, we think that all the sediments whatever are there, they are deposited in an ocean. So if in 1 year there is deposition of 2 centimeter thick sediments, and presently if we have the 2 kilometer height of the sedimentary rock, then we will simply did what, 2 centimeter 1 year, 2 kilometer, we will divide the 2 kilometer into the centimeter, that is around 2 lakh centimeters. So how much time it will take? So just we will multiply it. So from this way we will calculate rate of sedimentation. Same thing is used in the salinity of the seawater. We assumes that oceanic water is saline because of river inflow, and whatever the salinity river carrying, so we will calculate the salinity deposited in the ocean for 1 year, and how much salinity is there, so we will calculate the same way. Then same way is calculated with the use of rate of cooling of earth. We assume that initially earth was very hot and it is cooling day by day. So how much is cooled in 1 year, then the total temperature difference is happened, how much there is total temperature difference, and we will divide the subsequent years. So this is how the age of earth is calculated in the olden time. But now we have the radiometric dating that is more precise. So another question is based on radiometric dating. Now which of the following radiometric dating techniques does not need an initial amount of parent nuclei? Now if you know, this is the formula to calculate age of rock. Here and D is the number of daughter nuclei, and P is the number of parent nuclei. So you should have know about the NP and ND. But the question here is the number of daughter nuclei, such as if we are talking about the uranium lead method. So parent nuclei is your uranium, but the daughter nuclei you have lead. So there is lead which is formed due to the decay of uranium, but there are also lead which was initially present. So you don't know what is the exact amount of lead which is formed by parent nuclei. So this is the condition. But if you will talk about the carbon 14 method, there is a clear cut or a stable ratio between the carbon 14 and nitrogen 14. So this ratio is now fixed, and because of this fixation the calculation becomes easier. Okay, so fourth option here is right answer. Then another question is, which of the following method is used for dating zircon? So zircon is a mineral, and for zircon we uses the dating technique uranium lead. Now why we are using the uranium lead method? Why we are not using the potassium, argon, rubidium, strontium or carbon 14? So this thing can be understood by this table. This is given in your book, you can see. So here is uranium 238, this is present in these two minerals. Okay, so if you have the zircon and sphene, definitely you have only the uranium present. If you don't have potassium in these minerals, how can you date? Same thing, you don't have rubidium, how you will date? So this is the thing. So for potassium, you can use muscovite, biotite, hornblende, gluconite. So these minerals contains potassium. So you can use the potassium argon method. Same, you have here the microcline metamorphic rocks. They contains mainly rubidium. So you can date them by means of rubidium strontium dating technique. Okay. Then here are I have some one word questions. So if you are interested, you can write in the comment box about the answer of these questions. So first question is, which force is only attractive in nature? So we have a lot of forces, like we have the electromagnetic force, magnetic force, we have the gravity. So which force is only attractive in nature? Another question is, which planet have rotational period more than its revolution period? Okay, so write down answer of these questions. Another question is, what is the formula which is related to the distance of planets from the sun? So there is a rule, there is a formula. You can write it, the name of rule or the formula, how we calculate the distance of different planets from the sun. Okay, and all of these questions I will give answer in the next video. Till then, thank you.